We have Mason Christopher Bettis, date of birth is 9/17/99, decided consented for a kidney transplant and removal of a peritoneal dialysis catheter.
My son Mason was born September 17th, 1999. I was the first family member to hold him, which seemed completely unfair since my wife did all the work. From the moment they placed him in my arms, his big brown eyes were staring right at me. Not glancing around, not looking in my general direction, he was staring right at me. That's where he got his nickname, the Googler. As a baby, he and I spent a lot of time together. My wife worked full-time, so I had him all to myself from about 8 in the morning until 2 p.m. when I had to go to work. Needless to say, the Googler and I became very, very close. In the spring of 1999, when my wife was a few months pregnant, a sonogram image of him in the womb revealed he had just one kidney. Had that one kidney functioned normally, there would not have been a problem at all. But it didn't. On his birthday, he joined a large percentage of Americans who suffer from chronic kidney disease. 1 in 7 U.S. adults, or about 15% of the population, have some form of renal disease, while an even larger percentage, about 1 in 3, are at risk of kidney disease. This is my son's lifelong account of kidney failure and miraculous hope.
All my life, I've had this one kidney. I've had to go in for routine blood tests every 3 months, and I'd meet with the doctor for a 20-minute period after, and they tell me everything is fine, but they always ended their appointment with, "One day, Mason," ever since I was the age of as young as I can remember. "One day, Mason, your kidney will not work anymore and you will need a kidney transplant."
Mason, ever since he was a little boy, he's always been aware that something's wrong, that he was born with one kidney. But the one thing I've learned from that man is that no matter what cards you're dealt in life, it doesn't matter, because you can still thrive and you can still do great in life.
Growing up with two brothers it's really hard, but it's a good in a way because they make you really tough and they prepare you for the real world. Growing up, Mason, we all knew that he only had one kidney, and he took Bicitra in the morning and all this medication, but I never thought it would ever become a problem. It was just something that was there. I didn't know that it never occurred to me that he would actually need surgery eventually.
My mom comes in and I kind of wake up pretty instantly, because she's over me and she's shaking me to wake up, and she said, "Come on, we need to go to the ER." And I'm like, just kind of half asleep. "Why do we need to go to the ER?" And she said, "Dr. Radala's called me, and your creatinine's a 13.9.
Creatinine is a waste product produced by your muscles, and it is removed from your body by the kidneys, which filter it from the blood and discharge it into the urine. Normal levels of creatinine in the blood are approximately 0.6 to 1.2 milligrams per deciliter in adult males, and between 0.5 to 1.1 for adult females. Mason's creatinine shot up to 15 at one point, meaning complete kidney failure.
They rushed me into the back, where started taking my blood pressure, and to prove that all this was starting to freak me out and I was starting to come to the realization that my kidney has failed. My blood pressure was something it was 232 over 100 51. That's enough to kill somebody. Like, I was extremely, I was freaking out.
Freaking out does not even begin to describe what happened next.
3, 2,
1, hit it.
And now, your local 23 forecast first.
I'm a weatherman. More specifically, the chief meteorologist at KVEO TV in the Rio Grande Valley of Texas.
World Championship fight in Las Vegas this
Brenda Medina is my co-anchor and friend. I don't know how she has the strength to read the news and put up with me at the same time.
Robert?
Yeah.
You've got like a stray hair sticking up.
Oh no.
I see it.
I got
Oh no.
I meant to tell you
I
earlier.
got you.
If it's Tuesday night, everyone who knows me knows it's karaoke night. See the man in the red coat who looks more than just a little like Elvis Presley? That's my good friend, Bud Sanders.
I met Robert Bettis and we just instantly became friends. He's crazy for karaoke. Emphasis on crazy.
In 2004, Bud donated his kidney to his best friend. Suddenly, with the failure of my oldest son's kidney, his story became very personal, very quickly.
Yeah, I think that's one of the best things I've done in my life. You know, I've made people happy when they hire me to sing somewhere, but the most important thing I've ever done was help a friend.
Bud Sanders is not the only friend in my life with a kidney story. This is our station promotions manager, Victor Blanco. Victor was on the other side of the coin. He did dialysis for years, waiting for that call that would change his life.
I was shocked. I was excited. There was so much emotion going on that I didn't know, how to react yet, and so, but I calmly calmed myself down. I listened and understood what the nurse was telling me in the other line, telling me that there's an available organ, an available kidney, and do you accept it? And so I said yes. Immediately I said yes. When I said yes to the transplant center, I right away called my mom and told her I received the call. This is it. We need to prepare. We need to leave now.
Mason is a biochemistry pre-med student at the University of Texas in Austin. Let me brag a little bit about my son. He's an accomplished student, taking some of the hardest classes at UT. He's on the board of his fraternity, Delta Tau Delta. He works part-time for a cardiologist. He also volunteers every week at Dell Children's Hospital. I would be pretty proud of him if that was all he did in a day. But since summer of 2019, he's had another big job. Survival. Mason was taking nearly a dozen different medications. The image of my 20-year-old son who should be enjoying the best life has to offer right now, all alone in his room filled with boxes, hooking up to a machine at 9 in the evening every night, just like a very old man, broke my heart. One way or another, this had to change.
We were on a family vacation, 12 of us. We went out on a cruise. We left on a Saturday morning and we went to Mexico. And on Wednesday, I got a call. They were paging me on the ship saying, Melissa Flores, you need to report to guest services, please.
Methodist Specialty and Transplant Hospital in San Antonio, Texas is a national leader in kidney transplantation.
The average waiting time in Texas for a deceased donor transplant is about 6 to 8 years. So we support them through that journey, through kind of all the hills, ups and downs of them having hospitalizations, medical changes, support changes. Sometimes their whole situation can change, and making sure that we kind of ride that roller coaster with them.
So the coordinator here at Methodist Specialty and Transplant said, where are you? And I said, I'm in the middle of the Gulf of Mexico. And she said, when will you be back? And I said, tomorrow morning. And she said, I'm afraid it's going to be too late. And my heart sunk.
This year, we've transplanted approximately 136 patients off the deceased donor list. So it's 136 patients that were waiting on the list. But every month, we add between 50 and 100 patients onto the list every month. So we're adding them on faster than patients are being transplanted.
When I got the call, we were about 236 miles from the mainland. And so my husband had said, you know, is there any way we can get her off any sooner? Can we call the Coast Guard? Can we call somebody? And they said no, that was not an option. So our only option was to get off ASAP, get in the car, and take the 4-hour drive from Galveston to San Antonio.
Currently here in Texas, there's 10,000 men, women, and even children on the waiting list.
We brought the smallest car back, and we left the family behind with luggage and all, and we headed straight to San Antonio. Well, I don't know if you know about Houston traffic, but it was a weekday, it was a Thursday morning, and we hit Houston traffic.
I think some of it is fear. I think some people have a certain element of fear in regards to donating a kidney, how that affects them long term. And there's also fear from the recipients about taking a kidney from a loved one. We have a lot of people who say they don't want their children to donate to them or their parents to donate to them because they're afraid of what might happen down the line. So it's really an education piece for us to educate them about how stringent we are in our screening process to make sure that it is safe for each party to donate and receive.
On the drive to the hospital, our son is a deputy in Caldwell County where we live, and he happened to be working this day. And this is probably needs to be off the record, but he was working that day, and he met us at one end of the county, and he put his flashers and his sirens, and he guided us through the county. We were moving at a fairly high rate of speed. And I kept saying, slow down, I want to get there alive. You know, that's the goal.
Melissa had to speed to surgery in record time because she did not have a living donor. Without a living donor, over 100,000 people in the U.S. have to cling to their phones, waiting for that call.
The Donate Life Texas Registry is a deceased donor registry, but many people can also qualify to be living donors, and that has been a great alternative that has really helped to bring down the waiting list. Because without it, many people in need of organs like kidneys, for example, would be waiting years for a donor.
Our program has been founded on the idea that we can take willing living donors and put them into their intended recipients, or even in some cases, if they're not a match, in someone that they might not have intended it for, but it ends up being a great gift.
Get off the cruise and come straight to the hospital, which that was God's perfect timing. I mean, you know, had it been one day later, I would have missed my opportunity, because the kidney can only stay out of the donor's body for so long. It can only stay packed in ice for so long.
When Mason was admitted to the hospital for emergency dialysis, he was too angry and scared to let me take his picture. But I secretly snapped this one pic of his sister fixing his hair. It could only get better from this point. And you know what? It did. My blood work revealed I was a perfect match to give my kidney to Mason.
Good morning.
Well, good morning. Hi.
How are you?
Great.
Good, good. Mr. Robert Bettis?
That's right.
Good, good.
For
good.
insurance purposes, excellent reputation, and proximity, we chose Methodist Specialty and Transplant Hospital in San Antonio. The doctors wanted me thoroughly screened for general health and my ability to live well with only one kidney. That process included a CT scan of my kidneys, a chest x-ray, and a urine test. After successfully clearing those hurdles, all we had to do now was schedule the surgery. Since Mason was in the middle of his college semester and I was in the last months of hurricane season, we decided December 18th, 2 days after Mason's last final.
What is it like working with Robert? Well, as I'm sure many of us know, he's a goofy person to work with, but every day is something new with him. You know, he's always making us laugh here, and he's just a very outgoing person, very dedicated to his family.
I've worked on the news for over 25 years, but I have never been the subject of a news story. I don't really get nervous, but I was this day.
Mason was born and every grandparent was there. He was the first grandchild. So picture us and about 15 older people all excited. They did some blood work on Mason, and according to that blood work, he was in complete renal failure. We had one doctor tell us that it was very likely that, unfortunately, your son would die within the next several days, because once an infant is in renal failure, there is absolutely nothing we can do at this point to save him. We were devastated. Mason had to stay at the hospital for 10 days. On about the 5th day, we ran out of time in the hospital, but Mason had to stay, so we kind of had to come home. And that night that we came home, he was still at the hospital, and we collapsed on our bedroom floor, and we just wailed to God. We had nothing. We didn't know what to do. But then, like the next day, they did blood work.
And his levels started to come down. You know, his creatinine was 2.9, which is extremely high. It's usually 0.2 to 0.5 in a baby, so that was really, really high. And it started to come down. It came down, I think, to 1.7, then it came down to 1.5, and it just started to inch down.
All the doctors were like, well,
yeah.
Well, we don't know what to say. But you're gonna take your son home. And so on day 10, I put him in his little car seat, and I never looked back. I never worried about it again. Moms are designed to worry. Mom had to go to his quarterly visits, and of course they've monitored him all his life.
And Robert, you and I have been talking about this for a while now. I've been following you on this journey. You've been sharing when you found out, you know, that you would possibly be a match, and then when you found out that you were going to be a match, you came into the newsroom or to the studio and you told me about this. And just tell me a little bit more about what was going through your mind. You brought your son into this world, and now you're going to give him an opportunity, another opportunity to be here with you guys much, much longer.
Yeah, I was sitting in my car and got a call from Methodist Specialty and Transplant Hospital, and Carlos, the main surgical coordinator, he said, "You're a match. And so when you want to come see us." I'll be honest, I'm terrified. I'm trying not to think about it.
I had my wisdom teeth pulled and you thought I was having heart surgery because I get very anxious irrationally. At some point, I imagine I'll tell that very professional staff, you know, don't tell me anymore. I know what the concept is here, and you know, just put me out and do your thing. Because he lives, I can face tomorrow. Because he lives, all fear is gone. Because I know.
The Bible teaches that in all things, God works for the good of those who've been called according to his purpose and loves him. So there's difficult things that happen into life, even in the lives of believers. But Jesus has promised that he will walk with you through all of those hard times, and faith increases.
So I think first he wants us to spiritually be healthy and have a relationship with him. That's true spiritual health. And then he uses the external or physically internal factors to also begin to draw us to him.
That's right. In the Bible, the emphasis is spiritual. The emphasis is eternal. The Bible calls these bodies tents. We're in them for just a real short while.
It gives way to victory. I'll see the lights of glory, and I'll know He's there. We rented a home for 3 weeks near the hospital in San Antonio.
A little, like my stomach goes in knots because I'm thinking, oh my gosh, my son will be arriving here in just a few minutes, and then we go to pre-op tomorrow, and then the surgery's the next day. I'm like, wow. And we've been planning this, you know, since August.
He's here, he's here. He's done with his finals.
Hello.
Hi, son. Hi. Welcome. Oh, the man of the hour is here.
I'm so glad you're
I don't know if I'll be able. Oh! I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
We're like, you will be okay. Can't back out now.
I am hopeful that everything goes very well. I have prayed incessantly, and I know that the Lord would not take us this far if we weren't going to have a successful surgery.
My emotions right now are, I just want to get this done. I'm anxious to get the surgery done and for it to be a success.
My mom has had my best interest my entire life, and she loves me everlasting, and she's been there every moment for me. And you know, I don't think a lot of kids can say that they've had two parents who love them everlastingly and are willing to do everything they can for their children and me. My dad's giving me a freaking kidney. How many people can say that? And I didn't even ask. I never even asked him. He just did it. And that's the coolest thing I think I could ask of a parent. And one day, when I'm a father, I hope that I can be half a man.
Mr. Betts, it's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet
I'm
you.
Eric Treat. I'm one of the transplant surgeons here. So we're on the schedule tomorrow to do your operation. All right, so the purpose of this visit is not so much for me to judge you to see if you're a candidate to donate. You're sort of already to that point. The purpose of this is really for me to get a sense of your health and your health history, okay? And to really make sure that I'm prepared to take care of you tomorrow in the operating room. I tell all the patients this. Basically, tomorrow there's nothing I'm going to do to you that's going to improve your health. If anything, I can make it worse. So it's a little bit, contradictory to the oath of a physician to do no harm. But we realize that this is for the greater good, for your son and everything. But you need to understand what you're buying into by doing this operation, okay? So there's always risks of death, heart attack, strokes. You can get blood clots in your legs that can go up to your heart. There can be bleeding. It could require blood transfusions or reoperations. There could be injury to adjacent organs or structures. Your lungs are there, your liver, your spleen, your pancreas, your intestine, your colon. There's nerves, there's blood vessels, there's all kinds of stuff. You understand all that stuff? Those things are rare, okay? Fortunately, we rarely encounter anything like that.
Like me, Mason was subjected to numerous tests, especially detailed blood work. You could see the fatigue in Mason the day before the surgery. He had not done a full night of dialysis in 2 days, and the toxins in his blood were making him lethargic. You could see how his body was starting to shut down, from his tired eyes to his pale, discolored complexion. I was starting to feel sick to my stomach with nervousness. On the one hand, I love my son and want him better. On the other, they were going to cut me open and take out a vital organ. I needed something to calm down. Well, that something was Tracy, a 5'6" woman who restores muscle cars with sophisticated fuel injection systems. And she does it all with, you guessed it, one kidney.
My sister and I are 13 months apart. We were as close as anything can be. And at the time, what they thought was possibly a virus had attacked her kidney, and that's what caused the failure. 1986, she was in the hospital that day. I was over there, and that evening they had a transplant surgeon in the room talking to us about the possibility of transplant. She was young and just wanted to give her back an opportunity to live a normal life. I was back to work in 2 weeks, and we had our surgery July 16th, and I went up to UT to start the fall semester, so I was back as a college student within a month and a half and just ready to go.
Meeting Tracy and a prayer to God was all I needed to do this. Tonight would be my last night with 2 kidneys. This is it. This is the day we've been planning for one way or another for 20 years. What was I thinking? Believe it or not, I wasn't really thinking about anything. One thing for sure, I was no longer afraid.
Our mission is serving humanity to honor God by providing exceptional and cost-effective healthcare accessible to all. And I like to tell all the new employees that our mission, and the most important word in our mission is the word serving. That's why we exist. We exist as an organization to serve others, and we do that to glorify God. And everything we do, the way we are organized, the way we are focused, what we are seeking to achieve is really serving others in their time of need.
Dear Lord, we pray that you just send your Holy Spirit into this beautiful hospital and please guide the surgeons. And Lord, I pray this gift just takes in Mason. Lord God, make him accepted and let him be healthy, and bless us, please, Lord, and get us through it. We pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
It's been my honor to be your mom. Just nothing has been better. Go do great things with Dad's kidney. I love you.
Hi there.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. I'm Brittany.
What's unique and special about the program here is the number of patients that we have who are interested in live donor and our ability to match them with other individuals who have a need and who have a live donor, and we kind of make that magic happen.
We will have to go all the way to sleep today for this procedure. Okay, you'll be undergoing general anesthesia, which means we'll put you all the way to sleep. You'll be unconscious for the entire procedure. We will use your IV to get you off to sleep with once we get in the operating room, get you moved over to the other bed, get some standard monitors on you. Everything we do has risks. You're an otherwise fairly healthy gentleman. I don't expect to have any issues in there today, but I'll also be in there watching you diligently the entire time. Okay?
So right now these emotions are normal, right? Feeling worried and just, you know, you're worried, and that's normal, but it's gonna get better from here. I personally have heard the hardest part's the IV, which you're doing great. You have it in and you're hanging out.
I didn't look, but it didn't hurt.
We are off to a great start.
We're off to a great start.
We are.
Okay.
So you're doing great. I mean, Dr. Treat smart. I know, right?
As a donor surgeon, I strive to make sure that everything goes pretty much as perfectly and as routinely as possible. I like the surgery to be very boring.
Here we are. We have matching socks. My blood pressure is a little high. So is mine.
Smile.
We do the highest volume of living donor kidney transplants each year, pretty much in the entire country as a single center. And we have developed routines and practices to be able to do this volume and do it successfully. It's a well-oiled machine.
Dr. Treat made a total of 3 small incisions on my left abdomen and 1 8-centimeter incision just below my waistline. He laparoscopically isolated my kidney, filled my abdomen with CO2 gas to make room for removal, severed my left kidney, and pulled it out through the opening below my waistline.
Yeah, so right now we're mobilizing the colon and the spleen immediately to get exposure to the kidney. The kidney itself is lying inside this kind of fat pad. This is called Gerota's fascia, right here. So we're moving this tissue here away from it, which is sort of the bowel and the mesentery, to get exposure to the kidney. I'm getting things prepared to check the kidney out.
47 and 44.
Kidney, there are really 3 operations for a transplant. There's the donor operation, there's this operation to get the kidney ready to transplant, and then there's the recipient operation. We'll flush the kidney here with some cold solution.
Thank you. We have Mason Christopher Bettis, date of birth is 9/17/99, signed and consented for a kidney transplant and removal of a peritoneal dialysis catheter. He has an allergy to peanuts. STDs are on and running. CAMPATH is in the room. 2 grams of Onset were given. Donor UNOS ID is AGLL804. Recipient is ABO-AB. Donor is ABO-A. Final cross match is negative.
That's correct.
Prior to insertion into Mason, my kidney had to be thoroughly cleaned. Over time, a layer of protective fat had formed around the organ.
This is the renal vein. We'll just put a couple of traction stitches and that, so we don't have to be grabbing it all the time while we get it ready. There, here. Three things to connect: the vein, the artery, and the ureter. So get each one of those ready. Mr. Kidney there now. There's our kidney. Connect the vein here first. Put our little stitches in it before.
My son's surgery was the opposite of mine. His incision was much larger. Dr. Wright had to position the kidney carefully, not in the place a kidney would normally sit, but rather several centimeters below the usual position, closer to the bladder. He then connected the kidney to Mason's vein, artery, and ureter, or tube that connects the kidney to the bladder. Want to hear something incredible? The kidneys started producing urine the second Dr. Wright removed the clamp.
So we'll take the clamps off the kidney here. I don't know if you can see it here now, but clamp here, clamp here. So the kidney turned back to a nice, healthy color again. That's good. My pressure and everything looks good.
Everything looks great here.
Ready to connect the kidney to the bladder here now.
All right, closed.
We made it look easy. That's our job. It really isn't.
Deep breath. 10. Okay.
Yeah, I'm doing great. I'm seriously doing great. I can't believe it. I cannot believe I had surgery. What time? 11? And it's 5:25.
Look at you. It's amazing.
Amazing.
Mhm.
Okay, Joy, let's go.
Let's go.
Let's roll.
Let's roll. I want you to meet all the people out there.
Okay.
Look at him walking.
I'm going to be honest. For a donor, I was having a much less painful experience than most. Just walking around was surprisingly pain-free. Only when I sneezed, coughed, or bent over did I feel pain. It was much better than I had expected.
You must have me drugged up real good, Joy. 'Cause
Yes.
let me tell
He's
you.
all smiling, no.
I've never done
nothing.
drugs.
Let's turn
and
around.
I don't recommend it,
Mhm.
but if you have surgery, hey, I guess you get a little treat.
I sure was thirsty. I was not allowed to drink a big glass of water, just little drops to moisten my lips. The catheter did not hurt, but it did feel weird.
Proud of you.
What a great day. Mason's doing good. You're getting great reports.
Yep.
I guess I probably won't be able to see Mason for a while, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
probably not till tomorrow. You okay?
Yep.
Okay.
Here.
Okay, that's good. Let me say something to everybody that is, like me, terrified of medical procedures. This was not only not painful, it was beautiful. This whole process had the hand of God on it. Every single person I met in this hospital was a caring, gifted professional. I almost feel a little guilty about how good I feel.
Well, good morning.
Hello.
Yes, I'm Dr. Bettis. I'm here to check you out and probe you. Hi, son.
Hello.
Well,
How are you feeling?
I feel great. I know you're.
I feel pretty good.
You do?
Still in a lot of pain.
Yeah.
Walk?
Oh yeah, I'm good. I'm literally good.
No.
What a miracle.
It does look good.
Look at that color. Oh my gosh.
I know.
What?
You look different.
Really?
Yeah, really. Wow.
Still feel a little puffy.
You're a little
My
puffy. I've gained 7 pounds.
It is definitely manageable with all the medicine they give you. And no, yeah, feeling good. I feel like I've got some color restored in my face, and I'm feeling really good.
Good. Anything y'all need?
I just need like your guys' permission to eat breakfast.
Yeah.
That's my favorite.
Yeah.
I've been waiting on that.
That's fine. You can eat. We'll take that IV out of your hand. You get up to a private room today. So I think we're off to a good start.
Dr. Adam Bingaman is a very special doctor at Methodist Specialty in Transplant. In addition to being the director of abdominal organ transplantation, he is also a kidney and pancreas transplant surgeon himself. Dr. Bingaman saw too many people who needed organ transplants who had 0 family members who were matches. So he pioneered a live donor exchange program that made Methodist the #1 hospital in America for live donor transplants. Here's how the exchange works. Let's say you need a kidney. You have relatives or friends who are willing to donate to you but unfortunately are not matches. At Methodist, if your relative or friend will donate their kidney to a stranger, then the hospital will coordinate a sharing circle, sometimes with numerous people involved, and perform a giant group surgery so that every willing donor is matched to someone who needs a kidney. Bottom line, your loved one will not have to go on the transplant waiting list because you're not a match.
You ready to walk? All right. It's Friday evening. I'm pretty good. I'm not feeling any pain. I went grocery shopping. Now we just gotta get my son up. You doing good? It hurts to stand up straight.
The post-recovery was much, much more painful for Mason. As we were walking down the hall, I thought, wow, my kidney is in my son and working perfectly. How unbelievable is that? The nurses told us that the best way to recover quickly is to walk around as much as possible. For me, no problem. For Mason, hey, he was doing the best he could while in a lot of pain. This would be the worst of it. Every day would get less and less painful.
Okay, you ready? With your pudding?
Yep.
Got it? All right. Your water. Say bye, Mason. Bye, 209.
It was time for Mason to go home, and now the real challenge begins, keeping him well. For the first few months, Mason would take a stronger dosage of his lifelong anti-rejection medicine, which lowers his immune system for a while. He simply cannot get sick for the first several months because certain viruses could overwhelm his system and cause him to go into rejection. The good news for the donors? Our immune system is unaffected by the loss of a kidney. The good news for recipients? Your immune system will get much, much stronger within a year, but you should guard your health all your life. Remember Tracy, who donated her kidney to her sister Tammy in 1986? Tammy stopped by to see Mason.
Well, hello there.
Hi
Tammy,
there.
how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great.
So nice to
It's
meet
very
you.
nice to meet you. Come on in. Please come in.
Hi, nice to meet you. It's been a long time, so you're asking me to like recall. I don't remember it being that painful, for a long period of time. What I remember, and I'll be curious to get your reaction to this, is it felt like the kidney was just a little loose in there. It jiggled a little bit. My recollection is that it wasn't quite seated inside, and it felt a little loose. How about you?
No, mine feels
Feels pretty firm and
pretty firm. Very, very, very tight.
Good. So
You feel a difference.
you definitely feel a difference. Although I will say, when I was in SICU, I kind of remember my surgeon saying, "Why are you so cranky?" And I don't remember being cranky, but he said I was. I would say everything in moderation. Enjoy your life, go live your life. That's why you had your transplant, so you can get back to living your life. Take your medication, take it, and just take it every day, and take care of yourself and take care of your dad's kidney.
Well, that's the plan.
In about 6 months, your other kidney will actually grow to compensate for the loss of the other one. And that's all you need. You can live to 100, 105, 110, doesn't matter. You'll only need that one kidney, and it will function perfectly and serve you well your entire life. So you only need one.
We focused on living donation in part because the wait times have gotten so long and there are so many people on the transplant wait list. And like I said, particularly for our patients that are a little bit older, they don't have the options now to wait 5, 6, or 7 years to get a transplant. So living donation has become the route to a transplant for many people.
I had the pleasure of meeting a gentleman right after his transplant, and he had been on dialysis for, I want to say it was 10 years. And so I had the opportunity to go into the hospital and see him during his transplant admission, and just talking to him, and how is your stay going, and how's your education going, and are you learning to take care of your new kidney? And he laughed, and I said, so what's going to be the biggest thing that's going to change for you? And he said, it's not going to be anything profound. He says, I'm not going to go on some big crazy trip. He says, I'm going to have Sunday dinner with my family. And he said, I can't wait to do that, because he had been tied to this dialysis machine for so many years. And on Sundays, he was exhausted. And he said he would just sleep all day long. And he said his family would go outside and they would live life, and he could hear them. And so he was going to be very excited to be able to have Sunday dinner with his family. And so those are the kinds of things that, we as nurses and doctors get to give back to people.
Once I get post 6 months to a year, I want to become a better advocate for living donors, because it is so important. A lot of people are just not educated enough. And I think a lot of people, fear the unknown. And, there just needs to be more awareness of the opportunity to give.
I can't give away Cadillacs or houses. Elvis had been known to pay for somebody's surgery or a hospital stay, things that were never publicized. I can't do that, so the next generous thing I could do was this.
The misconception is that if you're an organ donor, they won't save your life, but that's incorrect. And I want everyone to know that being an organ donor is a beautiful thing, and if you can donate, it's very beautiful.
Minorities do make up more than half of those on the waiting list, yet are 1/3 less likely to donate. And again, it goes back to those misconceptions. Will doctors save my life? Is it against my faith? Am I too old or too sick? Many people feel they're too sick to donate, but you'll be surprised that how resilient our organs and our bodies are, and how many gifts. One person can help up to 75 people, 8 through organ donation and the others through tissue and cornea donation.
Most people on this earth are walking around with a spare kidney. So take it. I don't even need it. If you have a flat tire on the freeway, you don't hesitate to pull the spare tire out of the trunk. How foolish would it be to have a flat tire and not use the perfectly good spare in the trunk?
We're always encouraging our patients, reminding them every time we see them, make sure you're trying to find a living donor, because it's really people's quickest route to transplant.
Immediately walking in the newsroom, here come all the people so kind to give me a big hug, and they're like, well, how do you feel? I'm like, well, I feel great. I feel exactly the way I did before the surgery.
I've never met a donor that ever questioned whether they should do it or not. We all had the opportunity to help a loved one, somebody we care about, whether it's a sister, a mother, a son, and we were like, let's just go. Let's get it over with, make them better, and they can live a life and we can live a life. And you can live a perfect life with one kidney, because I'm living proof.
I am currently studying to go into the field of medicine, and I've always wanted that gratification in a career, to watch how you can change people, make them feel better, save them. And I hope that'll make me a better doctor one day. And this whole experience has just solidified that I chose right and what I want to do. Watching, those surgeons and anybody working in healthcare, the gratification they get. Sure, it would be funny if I ended up being a kidney transplant surgeon.
With his story of fear, of having to go through this procedure, of this major life-changing operation, I would trust a doctor like that. I would post the updates on Facebook, and because I'm a meteorologist and a public figure, I shared it onto my professional pages, and I couldn't even read. I couldn't even read all the comments. They were so kind. Hundreds, thousands of people saying how they were praying for us and were inspired by this. Well, if there's anything special about the Bettises, it's one thing. We hand it all to God. And He took such good care of us. All you've got to do is ask Him. That's all He wants. Just ask. God, I'm scared to death. Help me. He will. God, I'm sick. Help me. He will.
Mason's a very driven man. He's going to accomplish a lot of great things in this, and we've always had a little brotherly competition between Mason and I, but I think it's all in love, and we're gonna do really well in life, and we're gonna do it together. And I love my brother very much.
And to everybody sitting there scared of donating, no, don't be scared. Be brave. Because promise, I promise you, you're the one who's going to be getting the gift.